This is Sebastian, the little crab guy in The Little Mermaid, and this is Scuttle. I'll go ahead and put their original designs next to their live action designs so that you can start to judge them visually before I even say anything. I don't want to sway your judgment. Maybe you liked them. That's completely fine. I know we're dancing around the topic of Disney live action remakes during this, so you know, it may seem illegal to like any aspect of those movies, but it's not. That's completely fine. You might be a weirdo. All right, that was kind of judging. Speaking of judging people, what am I doing? Why am I making this? Is this the same guy who's come out with such classics as Why No One Can Beat Me and Buzz Lightyear's Space Ranger Spin? Well, okay, yes, good, I hear you. But I think this will be good. Trust me, okay? Trust me, you'll enjoy this. So let's talk about crab and bird. So first of all, my state of mind going into this movie was unprepared. It was that of shock and surprise because I didn't seek it out. You know, I'm not going on Disney Plus in September of 2025 to watch the Little Mermaid remake, live action remake. That would be pretty crazy, right? But I just found myself in the vicinity of the movie. It happened to be playing and I got sucked in. So I was kind of already taken aback by the experience, just thrust upon me. The visuals, the 3D nature, the uncanny differences and these characters that you kind of know. That's how live action remakes are for Disney, right? It's kind of weird seeing the characters you think you kind of know. There's so many similarities and yet they're so different. It's jarring, even if you're prepared, which I was not. So it's a little unfair for me in that regard. I apologize to myself for that, for sitting through that. But after the initial shock wore off, you know, I'm 5 minutes in, the reality is set in, you know, that we're doing this, we're watching this. That's when Scuttle came in and things just went right off the rails again for me. I did not remember Scuttle as a character, which is not super surprising to me because, as a side note, 3 side characters for Ariel, that's a lot. And people were really judging Moana for having the pig and the chicken and like the water itself as all being kind of side characters. And I agree, that's kind of a lot. I would cap it personally at 2 because they could have, you know, some fun interactions there. I also think that, for instance, in the only 10 out of 10 movie I've ever seen, Tangled, you can get away with having multiple side characters for different people, and they're that main character specific side character. Flynn and Rapunzel had a horse and the gecko, iguana, chameleon. That worked. That worked. Also, now that I'm thinking about it, it seems more common nowadays to have those type of side characters not really talk. Maybe they make some noises, maybe like the horse and the lizard, right? Like the pig and the chicken. They don't do anything. They cut to it and it like makes a noise. It's like a little Pokemon. It just like says their name or does something, right? It's like Groot. It's like, insert another example. So if you're gonna have one of these guys talk a lot, which Scuttle, Sebastian, and Flounder are big talkers. They yap, okay? They yap quite a bit. The voices, the voice actors need to be good. They need to be good. So that gets us into our first speed bump here. Awkwafina. I said it, okay? Again, I didn't know that I was gonna be met with Awkwafina in this movie. I just recently referenced her in one of my previous videos poking fun at her a little bit. And I guess this is karma for me doing that I had to listen to her for an extended period of time. Awkwafina voice acting performances they're like the price of eggs right now, right? Everybody complains about them. You know they're going to be expensive like going in, but you haven't bought eggs in a while. You finally go in and you get them and you're like, oh yeah, damn. It's like, this sucks, right? And she did. That's Awkwafina. You know it's going to suck, but then you get it, and especially when you don't expect it. Her voice came out of that bird, and wow! Now on the flip side, because we are comparing to Sebastian, the crab, beautiful voice.
Yes, yes, Your Majesty.
I don't know if this guy is specifically a voice actor. I didn't really do a bunch of research. I remember looking at his name. I looked him up right quick, and it was, I'm guessing you pronounce it David. Lovely, okay? Very nice. A nice Jamaican accent, very reminiscent of the original voice actor. I'll put him up too, so all credit to those guys. Okay, good. Like I said, very reminiscent of the old, not that it needed to be, but it was nice. Awkwafina, I have no idea what the original, in my head, I can't picture what Scuttle sounded like. Again, I forgot that the character existed, but I know that it didn't sound like Awkwafina, okay? I don't have to look that up. Now, I think that having a character like Sebastian, having an accent, you know, a pretty prominent Jamaican accent on this character, it's very nice because you already have this ridiculous concept of a crab that can talk and you know, do everything that it's doing. So we need that extra layer of like, what if it had a Jamaican accent? That's even crazier, right? You don't bump into a lot of that as, you know, me, the American consumer, the only consumer to ever consume, right? I'm sure they were on a similar wavelength when they were first making the Harry Potter movies, because magical kids and a school and wizards, kind of outlandish, throw a British accent on everybody.
Once I make my move, the Queen will take me.
And then, you know, me, 10-year-old self, I'm sitting there thinking, I could, maybe, I'll bite. So that's my theory there. Disney, if you're listening, heavy dialogue characters, side characters, animated animals in particular, give them an accent. The more crazy of an idea it is, the thicker it needs to be, the accent. Okay, let's get back to the visuals right quick for a second. I'll pull them both up right now, and I'll be honest. After I had my thoughts worked out in my head, and then I looked back at these images, and I thought, they both look pretty bad. Okay, so I'm like, maybe my argument's starting to fall apart here. But conceptually, they kind of pull off a miracle here with Sebastian. It shouldn't work, but he does. With Scuttle, first of all, I don't know why they changed birds. Scuttle was supposed to be like a seagull. I don't know what kind of bird Scuttle is in this. But just animated birds in general. 2D animated birds. Not bad. Not bad as far as the range of motions. They're handicapped by no hands, but 2D, you still have enough expression in the eyes. Again, like the mouth, it's hard to see a lot in, you know, a lot of beaks, so you really need the 2D exaggerated style, in my opinion, for birds more so than a lot of animals. 3D birds, they get even more just drained of life to me. Crabs. First of all, you see them a lot less, so you're intrigued. Like me, right? I see animated crab, I'm in. Also, every single animated crab that comes to mind to me right now, every animated crab hits. Bangers, every single one. Again, Moana, shiny guy. Mr. Krabs, come on. Sebastian, the original Sebastian, great. What's another crab? The crab that's in the Mario games. The crabs on the beach that did the crab rave dance. They're going, okay, we're going a little bit downhill, but the point is they're rare and they're usually pretty good. Having arms, having claws, just something that's like actual arms and not forced to be arms. Because even like cats, like the Mufasa movie and the Lion King remake, those live actions, when we're talking animation, I'm thinking of those more as just legs. They're not using those. You don't see that, you know, they're just using them as legs. You see what I'm saying? Crab claws are much more arm-like in their movement, okay? Picture this. A bird, say we have Scuttle here, that needs to look sad. Kind of hard to picture, okay? Thinking of the range of emotions. Sebastian, little cute little guy, he needs to look sad. All of a sudden he says something, he's excited, and then he gets a little sad. Somebody, you know, says something he doesn't like, and the arms just like droop a little bit and he kind of like squats down low. That's a sad crab, and I would believe that. That would draw me in emotionally. If I made an entire video on what animals were the best to animate for movies and TV, which don't tempt me, crabs would be probably S tier. Probably S tier on the top of my list, honestly. If you've made it this far in the video and you haven't watched me before, I feel like I need to address where we're at. We're in a shed. This is where I film all of my videos now. I'm pretty unscripted, but I do have a sticky note. I wrote a couple of things down I wanted to remember, and that's kind of how I'm doing things. Actually, that's not how most of my videos are, but it kind of comes in waves. I do some short stuff, and then now sometimes I do this. So if that doesn't make you want to subscribe, I don't know what will. In conclusion, honestly, I'm just gonna show a little bit of this song that Awkwafina does as Scuttle in the middle, which is like 5 minutes in. This is what hit me. And this is what, you know, hopefully will anger you enough to write something to incite some anger in the comments, because that's what will really drive this. So I think that's smart. I think that's smart on my part to end with this, because this is pretty rough.
Hey, wake up, wake up, wake up, Scuttle butt. Remember the swamp? Remember my song in the swamp when I was like, whap, chicka, whap, whap, chicka, whap.